Hello again, and welcome to the fifth video in Chapter 5. This video will probably be fairly short because the discussion is about casualty and theft losses on pages 520 through the top of page 522. Casualty and theft losses are reported on line 20 of Schedule A, and the initial calculations are made on Form 4684. In all my years of doing taxes, I have had two casualty losses. All right, one of which was a business loss where I had one of my clients who had a van that he parked out at a construction site, and they jimmied the lock and stole everything in it. And the other one was where somebody had a loss from a flood, and it wasn't covered by insurance. Okay, with the that is what we mean by a casualty loss. A casualty loss is basically defined as an act of God, or something that was a sudden event. All right, if you get in a car crash and your car is destroyed and you were not covered by insurance, that would be a casualty. If you had something valuable stolen, that would be a casualty and a theft loss. Okay, but so the question is, even though this happens a lot to people, why is it that it's rarely deductible? Well, there are some limitations. All right, number one, first of all, was it insured? Okay, so a lot of times you have deductibles, like you might have a $500 collision deductible on your car, which means that you'll collect the value of the car less $500. All right, so really, you're only out of pocket $500. So you're like, well, okay, I get to deduct $500. No, when you first have a casualty loss, whatever amount isn't covered by insurance, what you do is you subtract the first $500, okay, of the loss. All right, that automatically that part is not deductible. Okay, then you look at your AGI. All right, again, the final number on 1040 page 1 or the top number on 1040 page 2, and you take 10% of that number. Okay, so that's the amount that you can deduct. All right, so it is extremely rare. So let's say you have a married couple that come in and they have $75,000 of AGI. All right, even without regards to the $100 floor. All right, the first thing you do is just take 75,000 times 10% in your head, and you're like, okay, and you ask them, were you out of pocket more than $7,500? After insurance, and they're like, well, no. Well, then your casualty loss is zero. All right, so that's why it's so rare to have a loss. Plus, again, you have to be able to itemize. All right, you have to be able to itemize. So your casualty loss goes on line 20 of Schedule A, and then it's included with all the amounts on Schedule A, but you still have to beat the standard deduction. Okay, so if you take a look at the example at the bottom of page 521, this is what we're talking about. It says, in 2017, John discovers a theft of personal property which had a fair market value and an adjusted basis of $4,000. Okay, for the year, his adjusted gross income is $24,000. His casualty loss deduction is $1,500, as calculated as follows. All right, so the gross loss was $4,000. All right, then you subtract a $100 floor. Okay, all right, so in other words, the first $100 isn't deductible. All right, so his net loss is $3,900. All right, then you take 10% of his $24,000 AGI and you subtract that amount. Okay, and his potential casualty loss deduction is $1,500, and that's what he would report on line 20. All right, so if the other amounts on lines 4, 9, 15, 19, 27, and 28 on Schedule A, when added to line 20, don't exceed the standard deduction, you won't be able to take your casualty loss. Okay? All right. So, again, it's rare. Very rarely ever happens. But you know, sometimes you get people that, you know, for example, they get a major flood in their house. They're not in a flood zone, so they're not automatically covered under their homeowner's insurance. They didn't buy separate flood insurance, and you know, the damage to their house was not covered by insurance. There's a good way you would probably have a casualty loss. Okay, but other than that, unless you got your car totally wrecked and you didn't have insurance, it would be pretty rare. All right, that ends this video recording on casualty and theft losses.